A young 𝙲𝚙𝚎𝚑 reflecting on his work as a young jujutsu sorcerer while exorcising and absorbing a cursed spirit. Afterward, a woman explains some jujutsu sorcerers' missions. It involves them investigating a former restaurant chain president's home since it's haunted. Mei and a young 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚏 enter the residence. They split up once they get deeper into the place. 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚏 checks several locations for any strange activity and finds a group of rodents in one room. She exits and bumps into Mei. 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚏 says this floor doesn't look familiar despite Mei saying she traversed this floor 3 times. Mei theorizes they're inside the cursed spirit's barrier. Mei argues this is how the spirit killed its victims. They must escape the barrier to murder the cursed spirit, so 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚏 conjures a brilliant scheme that'll allow them to free themselves from the spirit's grasp. 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚏 proceeds with the plan and bumps into a young Satoru Gojo. Satoru belittles 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚏 for being scared as the cursed spirit finally reveals itself. Gojo and a young Shoko arrive, and 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚏's happy to see her. 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚏's surprised it's been 2 days already, but Satoru informs her that the spirit must have the power to alternate time. Mei asks Shoko, Gojo, and Satoru if they handled the veil issue. The group gets scolded by a young Masamichi for the veil, and Satoru comes forward and apologizes for forgetting. Satoru and his friends visit a basketball court. Satoru shares his thoughts about setting up veils since the populace can't see cursed spirits or cursed techniques. Gojo argues it's important to keep the populace calm since it discourages the cursed spirits. Gojo argues that it's exhausting to look after weak humans while Gojo claims jujutsu exists to protect non-sorcerers. Before they get into a physical confrontation, Masamichi enters the room and assigns them a new mission. Masamichi tells the boys their mission has 2 goals. One involves the star plasma vessel, a girl compatible with Tengen. They must escort and erase her. One of them asks Masamichi if this is about renewing Tengen's technique, and Masamichi states Tengen possesses an immortality curse technique but not to confuse it with eternal youth. Further, Masamichi states that once Tengen reaches a specific age, the curse technique begins rewriting his body. Thus, Tengen will cease being human and lose his will. If that were to happen, Tengen would no longer be able to supply the jujutsu schools, society, and the assistant supervisors' barrier techniques with power. Furthermore, they won't be able to maintain security or clean up after missions. Tengen could also become a dangerous threat. This is why every 500 years, he locates the star plasma vessel to assimilate with them and overwrite the information on their body. This will assist him in resetting his curse technique back to 0. Masamichi tells the boys the Curse User Group Q and the Time Vessel Association are after the star plasma vessel. The Curse User Group wants to upend society through Tengen's rampage. As for the Time Vessel Association, they worship Tengen like a god. Further, Masamichi explains Tengen vows to assimilate with the girl in 2 days, so Gojo and Gojo must protect and ensure she reaches Tengen in the time frame. After grabbing drinks, Satoru wonders why the Time Vessel Association wants to kill the girl. Gojo claims they want to kill the girl to maintain Tengen's purity. Gojo says they should be more concerned about the Curse User Group Q. He tells Satoru not to be full of himself. Gojo arrives at the girl's door, but an explosion occurs, resulting in her jumping off the building. Gojo rescues the girl and realizes this was a stunt caused by a member of Cursed Group Q. A member confronts Satoru, and Satoru plans to show him no mercy. Meanwhile, 2 men discuss the situation from a skyscraper. He asks his ally Fushiguro if he wants to participate in the star plasma vessel scheme, and the episode concludes with him gladly accepting the offer. one of the curse group Q members begging 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚎 to save him from one of the cursed spirits. He threatens that his comrade Bayer will mess him up if he doesn't, but Satoru sends 𝙲𝚙𝚎 a picture, indicating he defeated him already. At the same time, Fushiguro watches a boat competition, and his comrade wonders why he's lazying around. Fushiguro says he's waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike at Satoru and wants someone else to weaken him. We learn that Fushiguro is a sorcerer killer, is terrible with money, and has some potential relation to Megumi. Meanwhile, Satoru and 𝙲𝚙𝚎 question if they should take the star plasma vessel girl, Riko, to the hospital. Riko awakens and slaps Satoru, questioning if he works for the men who attacked her. 𝙲𝚙𝚎 informs Riko that he isn't with them, but Riko's not buying it and insults 𝙲𝚙𝚎. Riko's friend Kurwa arrives and sees the boys tormenting Riko. 𝙲𝚎 explains his curse manipulation technique to the girls as Satoru belittles Riko for her rude behavior. Riko declares that she's 𝚤𝚤𝚤𝚤, and they should declare her as 𝚤𝚤𝚤 even after assimilating with him in the future. Satoru and 𝙲𝚎𝚎 ignore her and believe they won't feel bad sending her off now that they know her behavior. Riko realizes she's late for school and orders Satoru and 𝙲𝚎𝚎 to take her there. Satoru calls Mazumichi, and he informs Satoru that he and 𝙲𝚎𝚎 must comply with Riko's demands since 𝚤𝚤𝚤 wants them to. 𝙲𝚎𝚎 reminds Satoru what will happen to Riko when she's assimilated and explains why it makes sense for 𝚤𝚤𝚤 to want Riko to live a pleasant life for the time being. Kurwa tells our boys that Riko doesn't have a family because she lost her parents in an accident when she was little. Kurwa's taken care of her since then and asks 𝙲𝚎𝚎 and Satoru to let Riko have fun with her friends before her assimilation. 𝙲𝚎𝚎 tells Satoru to head to Riko's side because two of the cursed spirits he sent her way got exorcised. The trio head to her school, and Kurwa tells them that Riko could be in the school's music room or chapel. Satoru heads for the chapel, Kurwa takes the music room, and 𝙲𝚎𝚎 visits the other vacant areas. Meanwhile, Fushiguro speaks with his comrade over the phone about his plan, and we learn that Star Religious Group paid him 30 million yen for Riko's bounty. Further, she explains that if Riko dies, the deposit will vanish, resulting in Fushiguro not getting the full reward. Fushiguro says that no one can kill the star plasma vessel if Satoru's nearby due to Satoru's powers. Fushiguro's unsure if he can kill Satoru but tells his comrade he'll leave the bounty for Riko's head up for 47 hours and let his fools weaken Satoru and the others with him. Something bugs Fushiguro, so he plans to head out and intervene in their foray. He hangs up on his comrade and leaves the restaurant. Meanwhile, 𝙲𝚎𝚎 stumbles upon an enemy and engages in a mind-numbing intense bout with him. After receiving a brief flashback of the enemy's past, 𝙲𝚎𝚎 makes quick work of his foe and asks him where his allegiance lies. Satoru enters the chapel and finds Riko and her friends inside. Her friends lose their minds over Satoru's beauty and Satoru's leaning into their lust for him. Their instructor tells the girls to pipe down but secretly hands Satoru her phone number. Satoru pulls Riko aside, and they head for Jujutsu High. Kurwa stumbles upon another enemy and, with 𝙲𝚎𝚎's help, defeats him. 𝙲𝚎𝚎 and Kurwa plan to follow Satoru to Jujutsu High. 𝙲𝚎𝚎 informs Satoru of intel he received from the man he defeated. At the same time, the one he helped Kurwa fight escaped to fight Satoru. He tells Satoru that someone placed a 30 million bounty on Riko's head from an underground cursed website. 𝙲𝚎𝚎 says these men have until 11 a.m., the day after tomorrow, to complete their mission. Satoru fights his companion's enemies and toys with him. After showing off and failing at his technique, the episode closes with Riko informing Satoru that someone captured Kurwa. Riko informs Satoru that Kurwa got captured. We cut to 𝚤𝚗 telling 𝙲𝚘 to rush to Riko's side since terrible things could happen. 𝙲𝚘 apologizes to Satoru for underestimating how much their opponents would value 𝚤𝚗. Satoru ponders various schemes 𝚤𝚗's kidnappers will try to pull on them while Riko's worried for 𝚤𝚗's safety. Satoru agrees to bring Riko to the meeting location after hearing her out. He promises to leave Riko behind if it hurts 𝚤𝚗's chance of survival. We cut to our heroes at the beach and 𝚤𝚗 apologizing to 𝙲𝚘 for getting captured by the star religious group Q. We receive a brief snippet of how Satoru and their friends' encounter with the group went down before they took their small break on the beach. 𝙲𝚘 confirms they used a plane to get here because it was a safer means of travel. He wonders why the star religious group Q designated Okinawa for the exchange. 𝚤𝚗 believes they arranged the meeting here to keep Riko from making tomorrow's full moon deadline. However, 𝙲𝚘 disagrees because they would have chosen a rural area with poor transit infrastructure. 𝙲𝚘 notes that they have other first years from Jujutsu High with them, so their enemies wouldn't dare take over the airport. We get introduced to Nanami and Hibara, the two first years in question. Hibara's pumped for the task, while Kento's not as enthused. As Satoru and Riko are goofing around, 𝙲𝚘 says it's time to depart. However, Satoru argues they should stay in Okinawa for one more day since there are fewer curse users here than in Tokyo. 𝙲𝚘 asks Satoru if he's sure this is a good idea since he speculates he's wearing himself out. Satoru's not worried since he has 𝙲𝚘 and can handle himself. We get a few snippets of Satoru and his friends visiting different locations in Okinawa before returning to Jujutsu High for their protection mission's third day. Suddenly, Fushiguro attacks Satoru, shocking 𝙲𝚘 since they're within Jujutsu High's barrier. Fushiguro recalls a time when he went to see Satoru when he was a child. He was interested in the fact that he was born with the six eyes ability. He said no one ever noticed him standing behind him before, which is why he sent people to wear Satoru down. 𝙲𝚘 pushes Fushiguro back with his cursed spirit. Satoru tells 𝙲𝚘 not to panic because Fushiguro's attack missed his vitals. He asks 𝙲𝚘 to protect Riko and get her to Tengen while he handles Fushiguro himself. The others flee, and Satoru and Fushiguro fight. Satoru realizes Fushiguro doesn't have cursed energy and relies on his heavenly pact to gift himself physical prowess. After an excellent display of attacks, Fushiguro uses his special grade curse tool, the inverted spear of heaven, to defeat Satoru. Meanwhile, 𝙲𝚘 and the others get closer to Tengen's territory. 𝚤𝚗 tells Riko she can't proceed. The two share one final moment together. They reach Tengen's location, the foundation of the nation's key barriers called the main hall of the Tombs of the Star. 𝙲𝚘 gives Riko instructions on where to go and promises Tengen will protect her until the assimilation. However, 𝙲𝚘 gives Riko a chance to leave this place and return to 𝚤𝚗 since he discussed the possibility with Satoru before they started their mission. Riko thinks it over and wants to stay with everyone longer. Unfortunately, Fushiguro shoots Riko and tells 𝙲𝚘 he killed Satoru. The episode closes with 𝙲𝚘 planning to avenge his friends.